Back when I started out with photography, something I heard all the time was that prime lenses are always the better option compared to zooms. Now, after a good 8 to 10 years of photography, I'd say while prime lenses are better in terms of image quality, I've actually found myself using zoom lenses more and more. Also, I think zoom lenses are the better option when starting out, and at the end of this episode, I'll go through all the zoom lenses I use for my photography. So when people say primes are better than zooms, this normally comes down to three main factors: image quality, size, and weight. When it comes to a prime lens, everything inside of that lens is there with the sole reason of taking the best photos it can at that focal range. So there's very little compromise. Whereas with a zoom lens, there's lots of movement to accommodate for. And therefore, at some point, there has to be a compromise between quality and convenience. Now, how big that image quality difference is really does depend on the lens, and how much of a difference it will make to your photography, that's completely subjective. In my opinion, the quality difference between a good zoom lens and a good prime isn't massive. Yes, the primes are better, and in specific cases like portraits and products, you are really going to see that difference. For things like street photography, where image quality is important but isn't the most important factor, I'd say the image quality coming out of zoom lenses is actually more than good enough. Often zoom lenses are a bit slower, so they can be f2.8, f4, and what that means is when it comes to shooting at nighttime or in indoor locations, it can be a bit more difficult, and that's where prime lenses really do come into their own. Now, one thing to consider is when you use zoom lenses, you can sometimes get lazy with your photography. Rather than using your feet to recompose a scene or being a bit more creative about your composition, you can just end up zooming into your subject or zooming out to change the look. And one of the things I do like about using prime lenses is the restriction of only having one focal length really does make you think a bit more creatively about the scene. When it comes to my photography, where possible, I do like to use primes. So if I'm here in London and I'm going out to shoot, I'm almost always using the prime lens. That's simply because if I come across a scene where I'd want to shoot wider, I can just turn up the next day with a wider lens. If I'm traveling, I can't do that. Briefly, before going any further, if you are finding this episode helpful, you can really help support the channel by hitting the subscribe button. Also, all the photos you see in this episode are edited using my preset pack Cinefilm. I have a link to that down below in the description. So, zoom lenses allow you to have multiple focal lengths all in one single lens, and the advantages of this are pretty obvious. Firstly, it means rather than carrying 5-6 different lenses, you can just have one lens with all of the focal lengths, and it means the size and weight of your overall camera gear package is a lot lower, and when you're traveling, that can make a massive difference. Secondly, it means you don't have to change the lenses on the front of your camera. There will be times where you're in a location and you won't want to change your camera lens. With a zoom lens, you never have to change the lens, so it's safer. It means there's less chance of anything getting into your camera. Finally, you can take lots of different types of photo in the same location with a zoom lens. You can take close-ups, focus on details, or get wider shots of the environment. There's lots of different ways and different types of shot you can get with a zoom compared to a singular prime. Now, as I said earlier, you don't want to fall into a trap of letting a zoom limit your creativity, so always keep that in mind. But generally speaking, having a zoom can often lead to you capturing more different types of photo. In my case, especially when I'm traveling, I feel like the versatility a zoom lens offers far outweighs the improvement in image quality I'd get from a prime. Now, if you are starting out in photography, I'd highly recommend going for a zoom first. You get quite a lot of videos on YouTube recommending going for a 35 or a 50mm, but I actually think going for a zoom will save you money in the long run and will also make you a better photographer quicker. So if I was starting out again now, I would get a cheap zoom lens, be it 24-70 or 16-50 if you're on Fuji. And with that, I will just go out and shoot constantly. After a couple months, I'll head into Lightroom, I'll go through all the photos I like and check the focal length they were taken at. If there is a clear trend, such as all of my favorite photos being taken at 35mm, then I will go out and get a 35mm prime. But what you don't want to do, especially when you're starting out, is waste a bunch of money on primes you're not going to use, and you could use that money instead to travel, which will make you a better photographer. So when it comes to deciding between primes or zooms, primes are always going to offer better image quality. There's going to be some clear advantages there, but in my opinion, zooms are just more practical. So while I do enjoy shooting with prime lenses, if I'm traveling or I'm only allowed one lens, it will be a zoom. As for the zoom lenses I use, recently it's been the Sigma 18-50. Now, I recently done a review for this lens after using it for about 2 years, but in recent trips I've been taking and over the last couple of months, I found myself using this lens more and more. Recently I've been testing out Sigma's 17-40. This is a slightly larger lens, but it is f1.8, which means it will also be a great lens for shooting at nighttime. While it is bigger than the 18-50, having a zoom lens at f1.8 means it could be the type of lens where, especially when I'm traveling, I have it on the front of my camera, and whether it's daytime or nighttime or whatever setting I'm in, I just use that one lens. So that just about wraps up this episode. If you found it helpful, please hit the like and subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I will try to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.